Mr. Stan Lee, or Stanley Labor Martin, as you want to say, by his American name, has recently passed, man. And he was a co-editor and comic book writer for fictional characters, man, like for the Marvel comics specifically, like Daredevil, X-Men, the Hulk, Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four. And what's really interesting is that, he actually, got inspired from writing the Fantastic Four through the Justice League. And I remember with Captain Marvel, the first Captain Marvel, it was actually a DC comic, and they changed his name to Shazam, and therefore it translated into like the whole Marvel thing. But before Marvel, it was I believe the Time magazine, and in particular Timely magazine, and he serves like some type of as an intern writer in the 1930s, man, and when he was a little teenager. So he kind of knew what he wanted to do. He perfected his craft in writing and editing consistently every single day. And in 2010, he started the Stan Lee Foundation, and that's pretty much one to focus on education, literacy, and performing arts, and just inspire all over the world, man. Starting from New York, Manhattan area, and that's pretty much what the arts and the bohemian, that was really inspirational. A lot of people, the only way for them to express through their issues and their problems, of course, was through the music, martial arts, and arts, man. Things that's just outside of the norm, man. So it kind of escape us from reality, but you use it in healthy doses. And this man perfected it, man. Just going out in this craft, writing everything, bro. I know what X-Men was so interesting. I'm gonna do a little more research on X-Men, but X-Men was pretty much the inspiration from Malcolm X. Okay, just eliminating, just going, for the Black Panther movement, man. Of course, and during the 1960s, a lot of this stuff in this era was going on. The Black Panther Party was really just known for protecting black people, man. And of course, it was infiltrated through the FBI. And I just like he kind of translate that into the comics. Now, Black Panther, you understand this too. So I want to go to Barnes and Nobles to read on it. But I was hearing that, Black Panther in the comics, he destroyed the Ku Klux Klan. Of course, that was created by one of the Confederate soldiers back in the 1860s. And, with all this, going on, he has a huge creative mind. I just think that this is good, man. This is good for, like, if you want to, just leave a mark. I always talk about this in my videos. Leave a mark, leave your legacy. What you gonna be? You go to the cemetery, you see all these tombstones. I mean, just little tombstones. Those are the people who probably just think menial for the most part. But if you see those big, huge tombstones, man, with your name carved on, he did something. You did something that was remarkable that people won't forget. And this is something that Stan Lee, put that mark on there in the 1930s, man. Of course, when Superman was coming out in the DC Comics, but he perfected the Marvel Comics, and just one of the best editors and co-writers, man. And, just him just creating these things, just with no type of racism bias. He it was very cool. It was very entertaining. Then you have different directors like Ryan Coogler, who was inspired going to the stores and reading these different comics, man, of a Black Panther. It was really interesting, man. So he pretty much put that spark on there. I really enjoyed, man. Of course, I'm gonna miss it when new Marvel movies come out. People be clapping. I know he was in the Infinity War. He had little small roles and different Marvel appearances, and it was really cool, man. People were just like, yeah, I get my popcorn ready. I'm like, oh shoot, my boy Stan Lee. Well, these lazy kids, just driving the bus, man, on the Spider-Man movie in New York. That's where he's from. Everybody's like, yeah, So the dude was good, man. The dude was very talented, man. He's got to continue to do. Of course, his family, I'm pretty sure he got 2 children. I'm pretty sure they're up in age, though, but they going to, give this to your grandchildren, man. But he left something that was really remarkable, man, and something that the Marvel Comics will never forget. And I'll just say that sometimes, you got to go out your way. You got to intern. You got to get yourself out there. And, like, if you love politics, if you love, you want to get into some type of communications, like, make yourself available. But, of course, you might have to start from the bottom. But, just always make yourself available. Be consistent, man. And just renew your strength with the Lord. In 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 6, it goes into detail that when David was facing distress with the Amalekites, in that particular time, Israel was going against the Philippines, okay? And the Philippines, he was the officer for King Saul in that particular time. They were like gathering hundreds and thousands of armies that was conquering, and so they was really bickering back and forth. So but he said he renewed his strength with the Lord, because he understood that in Amalekites they was talking about stoning David, but David did not give up. He still trained up his men to fight, and he was a good officer. And at that particular time, God was with him, and he continued to prevail, and other people didn't, because they were fear. They had that fear that, oh, I would get killed, and they was different looking in a minuscule type of view. And I think, of course, he was born in a Jewish family, and I'm pretty sure he had some belief in Christ, man. He, well, not Christ, but in God, and he understood, the different practical principles, man. But his values is always that it's time. It's time to go. It's time. Value your time. Your time is so valuable, and I'm pretty sure his name gonna be in the Star Hollywood Walk of Fame because what he has done. And this is going to be a really inspiration for many co-writers. I know when a celebrity dies, people just put their own little tribute, but I really want to just sit up here and say that, Stan Lee, he left that mark, man. Any for writers, screenwriters, it's not going to be easy, but just be creative, man. And that's one the antidote of getting rid of depression. You have to be creative, man. Be creative, man, instead of just focusing on the money aspect. The money aspect, it comes from just, that's like beneficiary. That just comes from like luxury, man. That's the added benefit. But once you creative and you got your mind going, bro, and no one in the world cannot take that away from you. And you gotta understand too, it might be some people might like it, some people might not like it. Pablo Picasso, he created like weird paintings, but in that particular time, man, people loved it. People loved it. He had a napkin, man, and in Spain, and he was drawing some picture on this napkin, and the waiter, she looked at it, and she was like, hey, before he crumbled it up and put it in his pocket, was about to throw it away, she said, hey, I'll pay you for that. He was like, yo, give me 20,000. And she looked at him like, what, are you freaking serious? Like, she threw, she got hit outside the head with a brick or something, so Pablo Picasso like, well, listen, it took me 60 years to complete this, she was like, but you drew this in 20 seconds. No, sweetie, 60 years for me to get into this moment. And he walked away. So know your worth, man. Just know your worth. And at the end of the day, man, Stan Lee did. He just had fun, man, and that's what it is, man. What people gonna remember you for? Even though we on this earth temporary, so we can go back to the next life and complete a mission. Go to the next life, complete a mission. That's all we have to do. We have to utilize our gifts, and this was Stan Lee. He did that, and he perfected it. So just tribute and respect to Mr. Stan Lee, man. Seriously. Wow, you really inspire like a generation of kids, man. Just reading these comics and understanding and just creating their education and literacy. Because what I noticed that too, that people was able to if they have paragraph comprehension skills. Due to that, it's due to comics for the most part, man, because at the same time, when I was a little kid, I know some kids like love reading, but when I was a little kid, I used to hate it because there was no pictures in there. Now you have pictures and it's comic books, and they have good words, and you expose yourself to that on a consistent basis. Yeah, that can really help out the literacy program. That can really help out, put the stress out on teachers. So this man really did a mark. Having good coffee conversations with this, man. Every day at the barbershop, people watching Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, The Human Torch, all these people, man. People getting movie roles. Like it's something that you take something serious, that not only you just doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for others, and people are going to respect that. And I just think that's what he understood that, man. So he really practically utilized the whole the successful skills, man, of Think and Grow Rich, man. Wisdom and the ability to share is one blessings. But that's all I have to say, man. Tribute to Stan Lee. You guys continue to like, comment, subscribe. You never forget, man. Never be missed, man. I'm out. Deuces.